volume. So, good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon, good evening, regardless of where you are around the world. So, hello, important manager. Looks like you've been waiting. And I know I've already had some people come by. Jeez, I really have to increase the microphone sensitivity. Hold on a second. Alright, so I hope that's loud enough. Whenever I stream downstairs, let's wait for Gaby to come on. But as I was saying, well, now it's getting too loud. Whenever I stream downstairs, my microphone's actually situated a little further away from my face, so yeah. No answer. Let's try redialing. I know Gaby said that she needed some time to get set up. Maybe I have to try messaging Gaby to see what's going on. But for the people watching the stream, now it's too loud. Hold on. Anyway, so for the people watching this stream, please feel free to post your thoughts on Enter the Florpus in the live discussion. So, oh. So, I'm just letting Gaby know. Yeah, in case you're wondering why we went over to audio only on Gaby's end, it's mainly because I know that on my laptop it has a bit of trouble. It's weird. Sometimes it could handle streaming both my webcam and Gaby's webcam, and then there are other times where it's like what happened when we did our first Infinity Train live stream, where it was all like stuttery and it was like a slideshow. So I apologize for that. I think, theoretically speaking, I might tell Gaby this when he comes on, so let's actually try again. Pick up. No answer once again. So, hold on. I might have to. I actually have to turn off the webcam for a second. So hold on. So. Yeah. So Gaby basically just told me she needs a little more time to get set up. So. So we'll, keep waiting for her and then we'll get to discussing Enter the Florpus, which I actually just watched last night, and I'll let you know my thoughts on it. Don't worry, it's not going to be how I felt about the Star Wars The Forces of Evil finale. I really liked Enter the Florpus. I had a bunch of fun watching it. But obviously, it's much more fun when you discuss it with friends, so. But once again, and don't be shy, let us know your thoughts on Enter the Florpus in the discussion below. Right in the live chat, because we really do enjoy talking to you all in the live chat. And I mean, ideally, I'd honestly like to do all my live streams down here, but there are days when I just don't have the time to do them at night. And especially, at night, my parents, will come home and, hang out. And, obviously they don't want to be, heard on camera. So that's why whenever I do streams at night, and the thing about doing streams at night is that's when I know a lot of my audience likes to come up. And I understand that's because that's when, people are coming home from work and that sort of thing. Some of them, I know there's a lot of times whenever we do streams at night, that's when people are telling me, hey, I'm going to head off to bed. It was really nice talking and that sort of a thing. So it's kind of conflicting because I'd say this computer, I'm running this on the upgraded computer. I've been talking a lot about. This has the i7 3770S, the GT 1030 graphics card, and the SSD. It runs much better here than on my MacBook Pro. It's just that I can't use this computer as much as I'd like. And the funny thing is that this computer does streaming much better than my MacBook, but my MacBook Pro is still much better when it comes to video editing and handling multiple tasks, which is weird because both computers use 8 gigabytes. I think both of them use 8 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, which, in my opinion, in, video editing and streaming is not exactly ideal. I wished I could move up to 16 gigabytes personally. Oh, and Gaby said she's ready. Okay, so that's good. So let's call her up.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Gaby.
Yeah, sorry for the holdup.
Yeah, it's totally cool.
Totally didn't wake up super late because I'm just not a morning person.
Yeah, well, I woke up earlier, just to sort of, get ready and so that, I don't come with like a super tired voice.
I did totally intend to do that. I do have to apologize. I'm just like, for anybody who doesn't really know me that much, which I guess most of you don't know to this extent, like I'm just non-functioning in the morning.
It's weird though, because I often, I perceive you as somebody that, gets up earlier than I do on most mornings.
I do, but most of the time I'm like a dead zombie.
I see. Yeah. And that, and also, I said earlier that, my, aunt was stopping by. She's not in the house now, so that's why, it's cool. But, she was stopped by to take my dad over to a swap meet, and they're currently out of the house for a couple of hours now.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah. So,
Let's get
no.
down to the dirty, man. Oh, shit.
Nah, that's cool.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's get down to the dirty, guys. We're here for...
Invader Zim Enter the Florpus, which you
Woo!
basically saw it would you say you saw it right when it came out?
No, actually, I watched it the night of.
Oh, I
So
see.
it came out. Checked in the morning that it was out. And then I got to watch it with my boyfriend while we ate Jack in the Box, and it was extremely romantic and delicious at
Hmm.
the same time.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever eaten a Jack in the Box taco?
I have not.
Oh, because
But I do know they have them. They also have, like, I think, isn't it a teriyaki bowl or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah, it trips me out. I don't understand Jack in the Box, but I don't question it either. It's just this, like, awesome place with a bunch of awesome food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, okay, but anyway, just that's out of curiosity. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I actually just saw Enter the Florpus last night, and obviously we'll start off with like our overall thoughts before we, get into the details. Just to give you an idea of how much I liked Enter the Florpus, I was honestly laughing so much throughout the movie that my mom, popped into my room and asked, "Why are you laughing?" Like, yeah, she always like comments whenever I'm doing, things for videos, and I have to like, scream or do things like that and react. So, yeah, I definitely really liked, Into the Floor, but it was basically the return of Invader Zim with a little bit more. What did you
Oh,
think?
heck yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man. And oh my gosh. I was the same way. Like I was laughing so much. Just
Mm-hmm.
me and my boyfriend, we were just like sprawled all over the couch, just like, oh my gosh. And the nostalgia, like, heck, I did not even grow up with this, right?
Yeah, me neither.
But I just felt such a sense of nostalgia, like, not even in the sense of, oh my gosh, this is the show that I miss so much, but like, wow, they really do have material to make a comeback, like, oh my gosh, this is why I kept watching it when I came across it, like, it was just extremely satisfying as far as like, it being like a special of like bringing back an old show.
Yeah, it was for me. It was kind of like watching the Hey Arnold Jungle movie because these were shows. Yeah, because
Exactly.
the thing, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, so Nickelodeon came out with movies for Hey Arnold, Zim, and Rocco, which we'll get to Rocco soon. I know you already saw Rocco. Please don't
Oh yeah.
spoil
No, no
anything.
spoilers.
Yeah, and strangely enough, none of these three shows, I grew up with. I don't know about you, Gabby. Did you grow up with Hey Arnold?
I did grow up with Hey Arnold. I watched it off and on, and later on I got really into it, coming back to watch the old episodes and really enjoying the dynamic between him and Helga.
I see. Yeah, same here. And it's so weird because, yeah, I even got that feeling as early as the opening credits. Like, I think for me, it was a sense of. And it's weird because I've seen a bunch of the Invader Zim episodes, like on Hulu and iTunes, but I got that sense of this is the show you missed out on. You're going to have a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just watching it. And I guess I'm just glad that, like, unlike when Zim was on the air when I completely missed out, this time I'm watching it basically like as soon as the fandom is watching it. And I think that's another one of the great benefits of, because Zim has been gone for, so long, is that now people have like discovered the show. I know I mentioned before the way I discovered Zim was through an art book called Not Just Cartoons, they're Nicktoons, and I came across, because the Nickelodeon shows I grew up with were shows like Rugrats, Avatar, Danny Phantom, to some extent, Fairly Odd Parents, and I came across this weird show, and I was like, it's called Invader Zim, and it stars this alien and this conspiracy theory boy who's trying to expose him, and I just saw how like creepy and wacky the art style was, and I think partially because I was a Tim Burton fan at the time, that sort of art style appealed to me. I was like, whoa, this looks interesting, I gotta watch it.
Well, for me, oh gosh. Well, I from a very young age, I really enjoyed going to Hot Topic.
Hmm.
Like, and I didn't even come across the store myself because as a little kid, I was extremely scared of a lot of things. Like, I was a huge scaredy cat. And,
Hmm.
I'd pass by Hot Topic and I'd just see like the big old school like iron gates with like insects on them and the red lettering, and I'm like, I don't want to go in there. But when I was into Kingdom Hearts, my mom pointed out, "Hey, look, isn't that the video game you play up there on the shirt in the store?" And I take a look at it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it is." So from there, I start going a lot into Hot Topic, and naturally, if you know about Hot Topic, one of the main things they used to sell was like Gur merchandise. So
Really?
that was my introduction to Invader Zim. I did not know where it came from, who he was, anything. I just know, hey, it's Gur. He's a cute little puppy robot guy.
Hmm. This really
Fast
derpy
forward,
robot.
yeah.
Good.
Fast forward to high school, and my friend, her name was I don't know. Do you know Alicia Fares?
No, I don't know her.
She was like this awesome person who was, she's super awesome, like to this day, like if not even more awesome. But she would come to school with like a whole bunch of stuff, and she started talking to the whole group, whole friend group about Invader Zim, and I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. And then I came across one episode that was that was a rerun out of the blue on cable, like because I just happened to be on Nicktoons channel,
Hmm.
and they just like out of nowhere there's that one airing of an episode, and then after that it was like nothing. I'm like, holy mac, this episode is cool. I'm pretty sure it was the infamous, what was it called? The
Dark Harvest?
Dark Harvest. Yes, that episode was the one that I remember watching first. And
Wow.
at the time, I didn't think much about it because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And now rewatching it, like I came back to it like I think like 2 years ago to rewatch the entire show, and I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, that probably wasn't safe for children, but that's okay. We could still watch it. It's fine.
Yeah, I think I was in the same boat too, because Dark Harvest didn't, like, it's not that it was never gross to me, but I didn't realize that it's actually kind of disturbing when you think about until our friend Steven brought it up. Like, you remember he was like, ugh, that episode where Zim, like, steals all the children's organs?
No, and get this. That episode is supposedly what got Invader Zim off of the air for a very long time.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, because I don't remember how it happened, but this one kid who was going to attempt some sort of thing at a school. Now, this is a long time ago, guys. We're not talking about anything recently.
Hmm.
But they claimed that episode inspired their act.
Yikes.
So Nickelodeon came under a lot of fire, and they're like, you know what? All right, we're taking the show off, and poof, there it was.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, it's funny though, because I remember a while back, and I know there's still a lot of people who hate this person, but I think a lot of people would also attribute to the person who was president of Nickelodeon at the time, I think her name is Saima Zargahami. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's tough to say. And there's a lot of reasons why people hate this president. Like I've done a whole video on alleged reports on her, but one of the things people like give flack for is like they accuse her of like being the person who made Nickelodeon this like overly family friendly channel. And so I think I mean I remember, and the YouTuber Pie Guy Rules, I don't think he like straight up accused Zargahami of this, but he said had that this that that he brought up how in his Invader Zim discussion, you notice how like Nickelodeon, whenever they deal with like their semi-serious shows like Zim, Avatar, and Invader Zim, like he mentions how Nickelodeon has this habit of not really giving them the best treatment, like giving them really short runs. And I think a lot of people would kind of accuse Zargami of saying, she's the reason why, she doesn't give the semi-serious shows a chance.
I don't know if we could blame it on any one person. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know enough about her to really have any insight on that.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is that it does talk a lot about changes that have gone on in Nickelodeon, because we actually got to cover the channel's history a little bit in my children's television class that I was
Mm-hmm.
able to take over the summer, which was an awesome class, by the way.
Yeah.
We talked about how, like, one of the main things about Nickelodeon was that it was supposed to be a channel where children were given kind of like the same respect and same kind of like freedom as far as media going that an adult would do,
Right.
to a reasonable extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not shying away from serious topics. They even had like news specials. Like there was one news special we looked at that was for a 9/11, looking back at it.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at it and it's like, wow, the special was actually so well done and so organized and factual. You're like, hey, we as adults should be watching news like this.
Right.
But no, instead, you have the few off times when a kids channel was able to do that. And again, these kinds of news specials and like serious topics, although from shows like Rugrats, Hey Arnold, stuff like that, way back in the heyday, I forgot where I was going. They were a while back. You still see in some of the newer shows like Avatar, Invader Zim, stuff like that, that they still persisted for a good while. And it's just sad to see that, like, it's kind of died down, because one of the main things about particularly Avatar: The Last Airbender was that it just it took the topics in such a good way that just helped. I felt like helped put it in a way that children could really learn from it, which is like, it's really hard to come across stuff like that, I
Yeah.
mean, particularly on Nickelodeon right now. I mean, Cartoon Network's really trying to get on that bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a little bit more in the sense of like for how do I say this, kind of as like a marketing thing, more so than like for the sake of making good shows. But hey, good shows come out of it nonetheless, so I'm not complaining.
Right. Right. Of
uh,
course.
so hopefully seeing how Cartoon Network's able to do it, Nickelodeon takes a look and it's like, oh hey, we can do it too. We get back to our roots.
Yeah. I mean, I think they are making some strides with like the Loud House, for instance, from what I heard, but I don't know too much beyond that. I mean, when they're not, doing a SpongeBob spin-off after the passing of Steven Hillenburg. Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah. I noticed a couple comments. Somebody named Shamex2 says, I watched Invader Zim before and said I'm currently a fan of Villainous and Mau Mau. I don't know too much about
Oh
Villainous.
my gosh, did they just mention Villainous?
You watched Villainous?
Yes! I remember waiting for those shorts to come out, and I'm just like, this is so freaking cool!
Right. And
Thank you, another person who watches Villainous. I'm so happy.
yeah. Yeah, and the person also mentions Black Hat and Mau Mau. I did watch one episode of Mau Mau. I thought it was okay. It was kind of like a nice throwback to. It kind of reminded me of like the kids WB shows. Although my sis is more of a Mau Mau fan. Gabby, are you into Mau Mau?
I watched the first episode, like,
Mm-hmm.
because we watched the first episode on the same day, like, we were both there, because I played it before we watched the first episode of Infinity Train
Mm-hmm.
at my party, and oh, I just think it's so cute. I want to keep watching. I'll probably get into it a lot more, and I've been catching up on Victor and Valentino, and may I just say that I'm just so freaking happy
Mm-hmm.
with the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've watched a couple episodes of Victor Valentino myself, and I think it's pretty cool too. Again, it's kind of like how I feel about Malmo in the sense that I kind of like watch it as like a kids WB cartoon in the sense that I watch it more for the sake of just having fun and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I see. But anyway, talking about Invader Zim, so we talked about how overall we really liked Enter the Florpus. I guess could we talk about like the jokes, Gabby? I mean, because for me, I really like the jokes, but I'm the kind of person where like the jokes come by so fast, I have to like stop and like think back what were some of the jokes that I laughed at the most. Did you want to start off with some of your favorites?
The moose! Minnie Moose! I just love Minnie Moose, and it's just, oh my god. Just knowing where it comes from, I'm just like, this is great.
Well, what about Minnie Moose in particular? I'm trying to think. What was like other? I know there was that one scene where Minnie Moose was like trying to stealing that pizza sticker from that kid's car, and as Minnie
Oh,
Moose is
that was
doing it, the kid
hilarious.
was going like, like just like the Invader Zim side characters
No!
usually do.
Oh gosh, yeah. The thing for me was just like how they portrayed him, because like you have at the beginning where you have Zim holding like a moose menacingly, and that like weird like a shoujo anime style.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, then you look at how he's like like this big thing in the whole plot, and you're like, it's just a moose though. And if you know Joan and Vasquez enough, you'll be there and you'll be like, it's not just a moose, guys. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just a moose.
Yep, not just the moose. Trying to think,
Yeah.
yeah, I know that the joke that like me and my sis can't stop laughing at is so in Enter the Floorfest for people watching. By the way, major spoilers. We're going in just like
Oh
we're
yeah.
going in deep just like we do in all our discussions. But I know that so in Enter the Floorfest, basically the start of Zim's evil scheme to get so basically what he wants to do is transport the Earth into, I guess you could say, the Earth solar system, so that his people, the Almighty Tallest, and his superiors will come across it in their pathway.
By
And
force.
yeah, and oh yeah, and so basically what Zim does is he manipulates kids by like taking Membrane's bracelet, because Professor Membrane, who's Dib's father, makes this bracelet so that when activated, kids will like hold hands around the world and it'll be peace. But basically, what Zim wants to do is like have the kids hold hands, and then when Minnie Moose zaps it, they'll get sent to basically the Earthling solar
Yes.
system. But how? But oh no, only like what 96, 97% of kids around the world are doing it. So what does Zim and Gur do? Gur
Oh
comes up with
no.
this peace song.
Oh god.
And yeah, oh my god, it's like classic, like, Invader Zim goofiness. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of the Christmas song, the bow down to the jolly boots of Santa, or be crushed by his jolly boots of doom. And this peace song, it simply goes basically along the lines of peace, peace, peace,
Peace.
peace
Peace
is
is
nice,
nice.
peace
Peace
is
is
nice,
better
peace
than
is
chicken
fries.
and
Oh my god, I love that song. It's such a simple and silly song, but it's
Oh,
just, oh my
I
god.
laughed so hard.
Mhm.
Ah.
I know, like, and Penny, like, my sis mentioned,
Oh.
how she thinks what's gonna happen is you might get Zim fans, like, when they go to conventions now, you might get them, like, they're singing that song together, and you're gonna see a bunch of people going, peace, peace, peace,
Peace,
peace
peace,
is
peace
nice,
nice,
peace
peace
is
is
nice,
better.
peace is better than chicken and rice, and they're all gonna shout
Oh
the words
God,
chicken and rice.
I really hope that becomes a thing because I'm all for those kinds of things. I was there for when they used to do caramel dancing and like freaking what was the other one? Nyan Cat. You
Yeah?
would go to a convention and it would be just like this whole group of people coming together and just doing Nyan Cat just like for like 20 minutes.
What?
It was
That sounds like
glorious.
that can get easily obnoxious, because, like, all Nyan goes is like, nah, 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 nah,
No,
nah,
no,
nah,
no,
nah,
no, no.
nah, nah.
Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah.
it's
And
really.
that's the whole thing that just makes it so hilarious for me because I'm like, yeah, we all kind of low key hate this song, but we're just like, we
Mm-hmm.
just still got to do it. It's got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in terms of like
Oh,
other jokes, and I know some people are stopping by. Javi stopped by again. Hey, dude. He
hey.
said, "I wish Zim was on TV, not Netflix." I talked about this before in like several of my other Zim videos. I also wish that like Nickelodeon would air Into the Florpus on TV, but at the same time, I do get there's this kind of convenience there, especially like I'm a person who doesn't have cable, so the fact that I could watch it basically at the same time as everybody else, and I don't have to wait for it to come to Netflix is, the nice thing
And
about
and
it.
here's the thing. The one reason why I'm happy that it came out on Netflix
Mm-hmm.
is that from what I've seen, Netflix has kept this ability to give creators so much liberty with their stories,
Mm-hmm.
and like cable channels like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon struggle because they do try to keep that up as well, but they struggle to do it. And if there's a place where a creator can have like as much liberty as they need, I
Yeah.
think that's a great thing. Like, I mean, heck, we have Gerard Wade from My Chemical Romance given the chance to make an entire show based off of his comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just mind blowing, And if Jonan Vasquez has the opportunity to go there and be like, yeah, can I make my story? And Netflix could be like, hell yeah, man, just come on in, we'll get you settled. It's like, yeah.
Mm. I think yeah, I think maybe I think what happened though is after Hey Arnold the Jungle movie, I mean I like the movie myself. I know you did, right, Gabby?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, but the problem was it didn't really do the ratings that Nickelodeon wanted. Even Joe Murray, the Rocco's Modern Life creator, sort of said this when he was in an article when he was talking about um Rachel Big Head on Entertainment Weekly, and he was saying, yeah, it was, yeah, the Harold Jungle movie, it didn't do that well. So what I think happened is when that tanked, Nickelodeon was like, what do we do with Rocco and Hey Arnold? And they were just like, oh, put it on Netflix, since and I think maybe it's because Netflix is very open to giving creators a lot of freedom. Maybe that's why they were like, oh, okay, we'll take up Zim and Rocco.
Exactly. And here's the thing, like, yeah, it was amazing that they were able to put the Jungle Movie on Nickelodeon, right? But
Right.
if it's going to be at the expense of the channel, that's where I'm like, okay, you know what? Go for it. Go put it on Netflix, man.
Mm-hmm.
Cuz we got to admit these specials are for a particularly niche uh uh
Audience?
like audience, yeah.
Right.
And I'm not saying that kids won't be able to enjoy this, but these aren't particularly made for the kids, you get me? Like
Mm-hmm.
not like like reboots like Teen Titans Go, or the one that was supposedly going to come out, Thundercats Roar, stuff like that. You know, these are for like old school fans who have been missing their shows and would like to see some new stuff of them.
Right.
And you can't expect everyone to be into that. So I don't blame them, and they kind of need as many people as possible to contribute to the success of these kinds of specials. So if there's a way for them to kind of like not have, that much of a problem keeping it up, I'd say fine. No, I'm not gonna complain. I'm actually glad. Taking advantage of a new source of media and making it, using it in a way where more than just one company, one aspect of it is benefiting from it. Because you have the cable channels will have an easier time coming up with more, how should I say, kind of like more specialized works. Netflix is getting new material, and the audience gets to enjoy it. You know?
Right, of course. And like I said, for me, it's really convenient that it did come to Netflix. I
Exactly.
think Netflix and Nickelodeon, I know we're kind of going off on a bit of a tangent. I think they could have maybe done a little better in terms of marketing. I find it so ironic that, like, Enter the Florpus, at least as of right now, you can only watch it on Netflix. But if you want to watch the 3 seasons of episodes of Invader Zim, you have to go over to Hulu. Did you know that?
Wait, what?
No, I'm not kidding. Seriously, you want to watch like the episodes from the original Invader Zim, you have to go over to Hulu, or if you want to buy the episodes on iTunes. But I think most people are gonna want to take advantage of going over to Hulu. So I just
That
found
or
that
buy
ironic.
like a super expensive DVD set. I mean, oof.
Yeah. No, that let's see. I know that Hobby said a couple things. He said, "Fun fact: my sister named my dead orange cat. Sorry, the cat passed away. Dead orange cat after Zim's pimple." So, Hobby, the cat was the cat named Pustulio.
Oh, that's adorable. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. I,
Let's
I
see.
do I do want to apologize for, your cat not being here anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Hobby. And then he also said, "Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie never aired again
Never
on
aired again
TV.
on TV,
Only."
only on TNIC.
Yeah, the I do have the way I watched the Jungle Movie was I actually bought it from iTunes, so that was how I was able to see it. But yeah, and it would be nice if like maybe Javi could put not Javi, excuse me, if Nickelodeon maybe reared the Jungle Movie on. You know how I think TNIC has that thing called, I forgot what it's called. It's like Nick Rewind or something, where they do the thing where they air like the shows from the '90s. You know what I'm talking about,
Oh
Gabby?
wow. That does sound familiar, but I didn't know that was still a thing.
Yeah, if somebody knows the name, let me know in the live stream. And Javi said yes, the cat's name was Postulio. Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh,
So we
oh,
talked
that's
a
adorable.
bit about the humor. I also I like the kind of new things they did with Enter the Florpus. Like you mentioned, like I didn't expect that anime opening to come. Like I
Me
kind of knew about it.
neither.
I saw one of the animators was tweeting about, oh, this is some story. I think it was some storyboards I did of the opening scene, but it was just like whoa, we're starting off with this really funky anime style.
No, I was a bit taken aback because like I was going on Instagram, and there's I was going through someone's stories,
Mm-hmm.
like one of the people I follow, and I start looking and I see an anime. I'm like, oh hey, what's that anime? And he's like making comments on it, and then I'm like, oh no, that's Dib. No spoilers. Ah!
Yeah, you're just as allergic to spoilers as I am.
At least for this particular special, just because like it's so condensed, it's so easy to have like the whole thing ruined. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. Let's get I'm not gonna watch
Hmm.
anymore.
Yeah, I see.
But I was still surprised. Like I'm like, holy Mac, that it was really well done too.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
that was amazing.
and in all seriousness, it does catch things up for, especially people who are new to Invader Zim, I think. Like, to give them the basic general idea of the whole Dib versus Zim dynamic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it also kind of shows how, like, Dib is, like, I kind of feel like it shows how full of himself Dib can be. It's like, you have to start off the special in this very anime, like, really epic style.
I'd be safe to say that was kind of like Dib vision right there. Like that's probably how Dib views most of this stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm
Especially
like,
because
okay, it's fitting.
because he sees himself as he's the kid who's gonna save the world. Meanwhile, society as a whole is just really, really gullible. I mean, there was that one scene where like the neighbor sees Zim with his
Yeah, I
alien
was
eyes.
like, oh my gosh, he's finally like taking off his disguise in front of regular people, and then just for it to be like, oh yeah, just put it back on and they'll never remember it. And I'm like, oh
Yeah,
wow,
just like
oh
the neighbor. The
wow,
neighbor was like
oh never
spits out.
mind, he's
He's like, "Oh,
normal.
Martha, the neighbor kid's an alien." And then Zim puts his human eyes back on. He's like, "Never mind."
I'm like, what?
Hmm.
No.
Like, that's just how it is in Peter Sim.
That is so fitting though. Like
Hmm.
I believe it. You know, it's like yeah, that's probably how it would go.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, that's
uh,
how it's always been. I mean, that and also
yeah,
something.
like cause even in like the original episodes, you have like that one time where Sim is like fumbling around with like his alien computer pack. And Dib's like, guys, you looking at this? Like, come on, guys, how do you not believe he's an alien? And all the kids are just looking at him, and Zim's just kind of like, oops. And the kids just like don't care at all. They're like, whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, especially that neighbor. I think of remember. Did you ever see that episode? Invasion of the Idiot Dog Brain.
Ah, I don't remember it.
The one where Gur takes over the house and goes to Crazy Taco.
Oh
Because
yes,
yeah,
because
because
he
like
did. Oh wow, yeah, I remember that
yeah,
episode.
in fact, funny enough, just the episode as a whole, you have this like, as the humans put it, a mobile home on the rampage. It's like going down the street, and it's just like like obviously, yeah, people are freaked out, but it's like you don't think something is up with like this person's house, like
Like you're not gonna go back when the house is set back in place and like figure out what the hell's going on there. Like, oh okay, that's
nope,
fine.
nope, I guess not.
Just another regular day in the city.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much. I mean, we talked a lot about the humor and even some of the prior episodes of Zim. I guess the other thing I want to ask you, did you notice that they kind of had this like funky dynamic going around with like Dib and the members of his family, like particularly Gaz and Membrane in the
Oh
special? Mm-hmm.
yeah, especially with his dad.
Yeah, especially if it was that. I liked how they kind of did the thing where they kind of played it in a sort of heartfelt way. Like, especially Dib really wants his dad to just believe in me for once. Look at all this evidence I got from my sort of clashes with Zim in the past, and
Oh yeah.
Membrane is just in absolute denial. So
No, yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, that's a cute fake one you made right there, son." It's like, no, which made it so satisfying at the end because You see him continuously just in denial. Like, once the Earth is in danger of being sucked into a Florpus hole,
Mm-hmm.
ergo the name, into the Florpus,
Right.
and you're just like, come on, man, everything's happening right in front of you.
But nope, in the world of Membrane, all that matters to him is basically peace bracelets, teleportation devices, and making kick-ass toast. And
Oh
breakfast
yeah.
machines.
Yeah. But here's the thing, the one thing that I thought was still so good about it, because even at the end we'll say he didn't believe it at all.
No.
But regardless of that, knowing it was or thinking it was all fake, not believing anything that was happening in front of him,
Mm-hmm.
when Dib was telling him, like, I just want you to be proud of me, and no matter what it was going through his mind, Membrane was still like, oh, I am proud of you. And I'm just like, oh, my heart.
I know. Yeah, you're talking about the scene where what was it? Dib and Membrane were on tax ship. Yes, the
Yes.
character tax ship does make an appearance, quite a big one, I would say.
Oh, a
Although
big
it
one.
really dislikes human butts. Yeah. Wouldn't it be
But
funny though? Could you imagine driving your car and it hates the your backseat passengers because it really dislikes human butts?
oh my god, it's just like, why
Yeah.
are there so
And
many butts in
mhm.
me?
And yeah, and there's that they do that dramatic scene where it looks like Membrane's gonna fall out of the ship, and that's where you're talking about where
Yeah,
Membrane was
and
like,
he
"I've
he
always been
does.
proud,"
He just
and he
like he
falls out.
falls off of the ship and he just goes off after telling Dim, yeah, I am proud of you. And I'm
Hmm.
just like,
Yeah, I do like how
"Ah."
this sort of family connection, it plays a part, especially in the climax, where like Dib, Gaz, surprisingly, and Membrane, basically have to work together to, defeat Membrane's own robots and ultimately Zim himself.
Oh
Right?
my god. Oh my god, that reminded me of another joke.
What?
The ham.
Oh, pay attention to this ham. It's gonna play an important part of the story. Yeah,
And I mean, I was waiting for it, but that didn't make it any less hilarious.
I
Like, it's a
know.
freaking ham.
I mean, technically, it does because like Dib throws the ham at Zim to like knock him up, but initially makes an appearance when Gaz hits Dib with this random stick of ham that comes out.
Yeah, she just pulls it out and
Mm-hmm.
is like, you know, and then knowing how Gaz has like this thing with the character from that one pizza place she likes going
Gloaty.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she just has this thing with pigs and it's just like it's perfect. That is her weapon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I,
Mm-hmm.
I still remember one of the main lines from the old show I remember is when she's like laying down on the ground and she has like a pencil or a crayon or whatever and she has a bunch of papers on there and she
Mm-hmm.
keeps crumpling them up because she's trying to draw a little piggy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Also,
and Dim comes up to her like, "Oh, hey sis, what are you doing?" She's like, "Can you leave me alone, please? I'm trying to draw a little piggy."
right.
And
I'm actually double checking the scene to see who the ham just to double check. It's
yeah, it was her. It was Gaz. She pulled out the ham in the first place.
mm-hmm. Oh, actually, yeah, it was Gas threw the ham at Zim to, and
Yep.
I find it so funny how it's not even like a super like consequential sort of thing. Like, yeah, it knocked Zim out, but the way they have to basically stop the Earth from getting in the Florpus hole, which the Florpus hole for people who haven't the seen the movie, it's basically this opening in space that it sucks up planets, collides them together, and it mixes up your reality. So 1 second you're a stop motion cartoon and the other you're in a different art style.
Right.
Which kind of reminds me of Weird Mageddon and Gravity Falls. Did you get that sort of feeling watching it?
Kind of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically, yeah, what happens. Yeah, so definitely a
Oddly
really
enough,
funny
though,
scene.
I found it a lot less disturbing than the actual show itself.
Yeah, I actually kind of think. I mean, I don't know if like Jonan is thinking, I gotta tone down because of like past experiences, with Nickelodeon, that sort of stuff. But yeah, basically just stopped with like Dib just looking like really ugly as sin, coming out of his like lair
Yeah,
after
that
all
was
this
like the
time.
main part that was just like, oh gosh.
hmm
Ah.
Yeah, he's so out of shape he can't even get out of his chair. He has to move
Which
it with his
which
bare feet, basically.
which again, like I kind of like recognized having looked at the comics.
hmm
Uh, I feel like I should look into the comics a little more now just to see how much they took from them, because after the first issue, I just didn't get a hold of any of the other ones, so I didn't get to read as much.
hmm
The other thing that did come out was for the free comic book day issue that came out like last year.
hmm
The show that came out on the TV and what that girl was watching also comes out in the comics.
Yeah, what was it called again? That was like the one thing that I think was like
Shm-
very linked to the comics.
Schmoopsy and Floopsy or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Although they
I
didn't,
have the comic
although
somewhere in there, but I gotta go look for it.
yeah, although to the movie's credit, it's mainly just used as a sort of the show within the show sort of joke.
Yeah,
It's not that it plays like a huge part of the story and that sort of
yeah, and
thing.
you read the comic issue, and it goes way farther into that. But obviously, having a limited amount of time, you're not gonna like delve into how Gur and Zim get completely addicted to a TV show and just keep rerunning it.
Yeah, especially like if you know like how Zim feels about Earth culture, which by the way, I guess the Earth can spell the name Earth Urth.
Yep.
Earth. Yeah. Spelling lesson for you all. Javi, what
Oh,
did you say? I remember this old episode of Invader Zim when Yaz was trying to buy a video game, and then some boy got the last copy of the game, and Yaz had to follow this boy in this creepy way. I saw that
she would
episode,
though. She would though. Oh man, I don't remember that episode very well.
especially with that elevator scene. That kid Iggins. Remember that kid Iggins?
I think so, but I don't remember an episode like that.
Yeah, that was an episode. It didn't really focus on Zim himself that much. It was mainly on Gaz and how she was just like scaring the shit out of this like little boy trying to get his video game. And
I mean, yeah,
oh my god,
I don't.
Egan's like he's such a he's such a little shit because he's like going around saying I'm way better at video games than you, Gaz.
Oh
Like
gosh.
yeah,
Oh, you did not tell her that. That sounds familiar. The being like, oh, here we go,
and
guys.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Higgins is
yeah.
like, oh, and all the memories of that episode are coming back to me. He's like making a big stink about how he doesn't have the proper batteries, and he's panicking. And he goes to that store, that creepy electronics store, and it goes up to the clerk saying, "Where's the batteries?" And the clerk says,
Oh,
"Batteries, 30th floor."
I, oh my gosh, this does sound familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember like scene for scene, but I especially remember the really creepy, crazy scenes from that episode. Like, yeah,
Wasn't it? Because I know Gaz is always playing on her game device a
yeah.
lot. So this does sound. Hmm. Wasn't it that she actually needed to find batteries or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
And so, like, her battery runs out or something. So she's like struggling to get her console to work again.
I don't
Something
remember
like that. Oh my
specifically. I
gosh.
remember on Agen's perspective, he was freaking out because his system didn't have the right batteries. And, like, when he was going around his house, he couldn't find them at all.
I think I found the synopsis here. Is it called Game Sleeve 2?
I think so. I know that was the name of the game.
Uh, When Gaz sees a television advertisement for the new handheld gaming console, she grows obsessed with getting one. However, when Professor Membrane insists she takes Dib to this mall with her, Gaz is forced to wait until he finishes a new episode of Mysterious Mysteries. This causes them to arrive late, leaving Gaz at the end of an extremely long line.
I think so.
And then I guess the rest is like what you were talking about.
Yeah, with Iggins.
Yeah, but Gaz stops the elevator from falling, puts batteries into her newly acquired Game Slave 2, and starts playing.
And yeah, the episode ends
Lord.
in such a really dark way. Like it seems like Iggins is dead, and then he comes out the ground, and it's like Iggins. And yeah, Javi says it was that episode. Since you're here,
Oh my
Javi,
gosh.
how did you feel about Enter the Florpus? Like, let us know your thoughts. And same with Shamex too. If you've seen Enter the Florpus, let me know your thoughts. So, but anyway, getting back to our discussion, we're just like going all over the place with Invader Zim.
Yeah, then our other buddy watching here is just going all out too. Like, holy mac, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, KO is almost over, and I'm sad.
Yeah, I'm sad to hear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, to briefly say, I know that Ian James Cordy, he said on Twitter that it was Cartoon Network's decision.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
yeah. I don't know. I think I heard somewhere that like Cartoon Network didn't really do the best job of like scheduling OKKO. Like, did they do the thing where they basically just aired a ton of episodes to just get it out the door?
Yeah, something like that.
I see. So thanks. So yeah, thanks for nothing, Christina Miller and Vishnu.
Hmm.
Not to keep throwing dirt at them, but yeah. Yeah, it's just I just don't get it. Sometimes Cartoon Network does some really amazing things with marketing, like with Infinity Train. And I even heard with like the Steven Universe movie, they're gonna air it with no commercials. At least that's what I heard.
Oh wow, I did not hear that.
And then they do things like Teen Titans Go and OKKO and just OKKO is the show. You know, I like it fine, but just the scheduling didn't sound that good. So, but anyway, getting back to Enter the Florpus, but I will say, I don't want to say this is like a problem with the movie, but did you think maybe it was a little too Dib-centric, Gabby?
Nah,
No?
not at all, because, I mean, most of the show was just the dynamic between Dib and Zim,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Almost in the sense of, like, how in Hey Arnold, you know, the name Arnold is in the title, but it's a lot more between him and Helga and not just Arnold himself.
Yeah, I see, but I guess I'm, say that because when I think back on, like, the Invader Zim episodes, I liken it to how, it was not always clear who was the good guy or who was the bad guy. Like, even Jonan Vasquez himself said it in that book, because, you have, like, Zim, like, he wants to take over the world, but at the same time, even though, Dib, he's supposed to be the kid who goes around saying, hey, Zim's the alien, he's also a kid who's, like, very full of himself and kind of out of his mind, you know what I'm saying? So,
Exactly, and it's not necessarily that one is good or one is bad, necessarily. One, obviously, we don't want to go through with their plans for obvious reasons, but that doesn't make them bad at all. And even with, like, they keep that kind of like dynamic still in the special, which I think is great, because even with and I think this is a good time to go into this, the moment Zim finally realizes that the Almighty Tallis just don't care about him and send him to Earth just to get rid of him. You feel bad for him because you're like, oh, silly Zim. He's not going to pay attention. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, he found out. Ouch.
And
Ouch.
yeah, I like how I remember thinking, I was predicting with Enter the Florpus it was gonna be a thing where like, yeah, Zim will be like down in the dumps for a while, but like he might come up with some even crazier kind of scheme. But I like how they do the thing where like he basically manipulates Dib and Membrane to like give him control of the bracelet. you know?
Like, and it's not, it's so hard to call it manipulation too, because he was just like, oh, okay. He didn't really even need to do anything, and they gave him the bracelet.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of look at it in sort of like a more like cynical sort of way. It's just that I think of like episodes like and I know it's hard to do in like, one movie. I guess like when I think of some I think of episodes like Germs and the episode with the people that find out that Zim is an alien, that conspiracy theory crowd. Did you see that episode, Gabby?
I probably have. I watched the show in such a rush that it was just like a flood of information, and most of it just kind of like whoop. So I probably need to rewatch it.
Yeah, so I guess for me, I think I could have used a little. I think I don't know if it's just that I could have used a little more screen time with Zim, because we definitely got a lot of like good scenes with Zim. I guess I just kind of felt that it was a little on the Dib centric side. Like, not that I hate Dib or anything, but that's kind of how I felt.
Well, I mean, like with Zim, a lot of the stuff that was like, a lot of the stuff that would go well into a special like this is like what we got. Is trying to please the Almighty Tallest, knowing the fact that they don't actually like him at all. As far as like tricking humans, there's not a lot to it, because that's just it. He can. The humans don't really put in a lot of effort into it, and it just works. So focusing on Zim, it'd be like just making another really short kind of like episode meant to be a part of like this much bigger thing. And even though we can say that Enter the Florpus does look like it's one small part of like a huge thing, it also stands well on its own.
Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely does.
And even though Zim doesn't necessarily get too much screen time, he does still have a very strong, very prominent presence, which works great, And if we are going to be running around this kind of like this universe where we're on Earth, there's an alien, and the alien is trying to like screw with us. Possibly get our Earth destroyed, what better way than to go into the shoes of the little kid who's trying to stop it? So I was actually really happy with that.
Yeah, I see. So, but generally speaking, I did really like, this movie.
Oh, I just absolutely loved it. I again, talking about it now, I kind of want to rewatch it. That and the full show. I'm like, dang.
I mean,
I need my fix.
Yeah, I mean, I was even down to like watch it with my sis. Like, as soon as I got done, like I didn't watch it with her at first because I was taking notes and I didn't want that to get in the way. But yeah, right. I'd be super down. I mean, I showed her that scene of the peace song, and now she has that song stuck in her head. So
no!
Of course. And also,
poor thing.
Yeah, and I didn't mention this before, but Penny actually really likes Gaz's attitude.
I figured, because like looking at it, it almost looks like you two guys' dynamic. Not like the whole Dib being like stuck up or all that kind of stuff, but more kind of just like how you're just kind of like, we need to do something, and Gaz is like, dork.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, that totally sounds like Penny. I'm like...
Yeah, I see. I'm going to bring on a special guest here to ask him. I know you can't see her, but Miga, the
well, I'm looking at the stream, so I will see her soon enough. Oh, okay. Hi, Miga.
Let's ask, what did you think? Because I know this didn't really work out in the Infinity Train discussion. What did you think of Enter the Florpus? Yeah. So I thought.
Oh, wait. It's okay. Now I see it on my end. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what's the thing. I really like. I mean, I really do like this mascot. Like Miga is one of my favorite, Olympic mascots. But like Penny somehow turned like she sort of reimagined her as this. Well, she's Vancouver. She's from Canada, but she kind of turned her into this like
Oh,
maple syrup obsessed like
oh yeah.
bear that's like
I
derpy.
finally got to see her bop you.
Yeah.
That was great.
But she basically turned her into this like maple syrup obsessed bear that just generally doesn't really like the people around her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know. But Penny's creations kind of have this sort of theme of doing that. But yeah, so
Oh,
anyway, I just wanted to bring her back on just because I know it didn't really go well in
yay!
the Infinity Train discussion. But yeah, trying to think. I had it written in my notes. If I wanted to ask you, is there like sort of continuity in this special? And aside from Tax Ship making a return, I don't really like. I'm kind of wondering why did I have this like typed in my notes? Like, did you think like in
I
terms of like continuity, like for I guess I wrote it for like a person who may have never seen Invader Zim and may not get some of the references and that sort of thing. Even though I think even if people who've never seen Invader Zim, I think they could still watch it just fine. You
Yeah,
know?
same. Though I feel like it does still make good use of the the references it does make to the former episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Um and let's say okay, they can watch the specials fine, people who have not seen the original show.
Mm-hmm.
It works in a way where it'll also kind of like push them to be like, "Oh, hey, I wonder how the original show was or what this and this is from." So it's kind of like both ways, just kind of like, hey, we have this whole entire show that you can watch,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and at the same time being like, hey guys, we know you missed this,
Yeah, and
kind of like mix.
And maybe it'll be a thing. You know how like we got introduced to Zim like after the show ended? It may even be a
Right.
thing for like even younger audiences to look at and say, "Oh, what's this weird show Nickelodeon's talking about?" And they find out, "Oh, this is actually from a show that Nick had in the past." And they watch it, and I'm sure that some people are going to be like, "Oh my God, this is so cool. I should go watch the episodes." I might have to jump to another streaming service to do that, but hey, if
Hey,
it
that's
introduces it.
okay.
Because I know for like Avatar and this is so bad. I know unfortunately there's people who got introduced to Avatar because of The Last Airbender. Yeah, I literally had like one of my
Uh,
coworkers. You know how like I started working at this marketing company, and I'm
uh-huh.
very slowly opening up to these people. Like they know that I like shows like Star and Avatar. I actually have a few of my coworkers who are really into Star, and one dude comes up to me and he notices I have the Funko Pop of Aang. And
Uh-huh.
he's like, oh, what's that show? People keep telling me to watch it, and I'm telling him, oh, it's Avatar, and he tells me, oh, I saw the Last Airbender. Is the actual show better than the movie? And of course, I tell him, yes, it's so much better. So now, granted, Enter the Florpus is a much better movie than Last Airbender. So it's
The
obviously
mentioning
much
of it
better.
is just slowly killing my soul.
Yeah. I
Ah!
mean, the only reason like I've never done a Last Airbender review, although I know there's people who really hate this person these days, is mainly because my thoughts on Last Airbender are very similar to Doug Walker's. Like basically
Whoa.
his nostalgia critic is basically my reflection of that movie, basically.
Fair enough, fair
I mean,
enough.
say what you want about, the whole, change the channel movement, but yeah, we're basically in the same boat as far as the Last Airbender goes. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a much better introduction. Speaking of bad introductions, you know how I actually started watching Hey Arnold,
Oh, how?
the Hey Arnold movie.
Oh! The one
Yeah,
that was supposed to be the Jungle movie, but they changed it up.
yeah, the one about the dude who was gonna turn Arnold's neighborhood into a mall.
I don't have much beef with that movie as I have with something like The Last Airbender.
I guess technically not, although I still really didn't like the Arnold movie. But I don't know what it is. After seeing it, I guess I don't know if I was just thinking, okay, maybe the show itself is good. I wasn't. Nobody told me about the things with like Helga's dynamic and how they had some really serious things like Helga's backstory or about Mr. Wynn's backstory with his daughter.
Oh, that episode gave me so many feels.
Yeah, the Christmas episode. So, like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I didn't have much build up for Hey Arnold other than, oh yeah, some kids like the show, growing up. And then of course I found out yes, the TV show is much better than the movie itself.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, of course. So, but in the case of Enter the Florpus, it's a much better like introduction.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. Like, oh, I'd be really happy being like, oh, yeah, I got introduced to it through Enter the Florpus. I'm like,
yeah. I do hope that, it, yeah, and then watching the show, I'm wondering if some might be surprised to see, oh, there's actually some very Zim centric episodes, like the Germs episode, or, um, the, or what was the other one? The taco episode, you know?
oh, right, where Gur takes him to go get tacos
Right.
by making the whole house like mobile.
Yeah. And actually, yeah, thinking back to it, there were quite a few, episodes of Zim that made Zim more of the antagonist, like Bad Rubber Piggy. Everybody says that Dark Harvest is the really gross episode. For me, Bad Rubber Piggy was the one where I was like, ooh, this is really
Which one
dark.
was that one?
The one where Zim attacks Dib by throwing him, piggies in the past. Like, when Dib was a toddler, for instance, basically what happens is Zim threw a piggy back to that day, and the tricycle that Dib was riding on turns into a piggy and he crashes.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah, I honestly thought that one was even more disturbing because he's attacking Dib, like, talk about, like, at his, like, most vulnerable, at a point in his past where, it originally wasn't coming. And to see, like, Dib when he's on that stretcher and he actually, like, his heart, like, he gets cardiac arrest, it's just like, oh my
Uh,
god, like, and in the present moment, he gets, gradually more and more injured. Like, he loses teeth and hair, and he has that really gross looking vein on his face.
oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
actually looking at pictures of it right now, and holy mac.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a really creepy episode, so yeah.
For me, the one that really got to me, it was the Halloween special, the Halloweenies.
Which, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that one.
The only reason, like, I'd really say the Halloweenies really gets to me is like the whole thing where he like, okay, wait, did you want to like wait to watch it?
Go ahead and tell me, since
All
we're
right, all right.
talking about Zim.
So the whole thing, there's like, you know, uh, Dr. Membrane makes this weird kind of like telescope for some thing I don't remember, but Dib manages to use it to look into like other dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And one was just full of like these weird, ugly monsters. And, he looks at it and he's like, oh, that's creepy, But the thing is, once he gets out of it, and he's off of it, off the telescope, and he's just walking around, it just pops right back up. Like Stranger Things style, kind of like, bah, kind of like taking him back there. And you're like, okay, that's kind of creepy. But it gets so crazy to the extent where he comes to his dad to talk about it, and his dad's like, oh, no, you're okay, son. That's not gonna, no, you're gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it just persists, and it persists, and it persists, to the point where Dib is actually being followed by like the men, like straight up men in white, trying to take him into an insane asylum for having like delusions of grandeur or stuff like that. You get me?
Yikes.
And it's just like, holy mac, you're talking about a kid running away from these people, want to put him into an insane asylum. Like, holy mac.
Yeesh, that kind of gives me
While he's
Twilight Zone vibes.
Yeah, while he's having these kind of like psychedelic sort of like moments of kind of like dissociation, looking at like a whole different place that's replaces the one in which you're actually in. And that just gave me the chills, man. Like I was legit kind of like creeped out after watching that episode. I was like, ooh.
I see. I know that Shamex2 has been waiting for answers to questions, some of which I'm not sure we could really answer. Like, this person was asking things about Zim's childhood, Dib's mother, and the past of the Urkins. I mean, I don't really know. Like, Gab, do you know if they went into? I know, like Zim's child. The only thing I could recall is when we see him being born and he hugs that robot arm, like it's his mother or something.
Wait, where?
Shamex2 is asking some questions, like about Zim's childhood. Dib's mother, like, funny enough, is there any, like, possibility as to why Dib doesn't have a mother?
Oh, he's saying that these are all unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they pretty much are. Um, I mean, I guess it would be interesting to look into that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they would because knowing how the show is, it's more about the creep factor than necessarily getting into heavy topics, which they do obviously, but a lot of it is still more for like the creep factor. You get me?
Yeah,
So I don't know if they
definitely.
would get into that. Maybe with the history, with the past of the Irkins, we do have that whole episode where we are introduced to how Zim actually ended up on Earth.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I could think about the past is like the first Operation Impending Doom. You know, where Zim is just running around in this giant robot and like breaking shit on Urk and that sort of thing.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. If it was a show like Gravity Falls, like I could see them maybe diving into how come you don't see this character's like mom, for instance. Like
Oh
I
yeah, I
know
could definitely
people.
see that.
Yeah, I think people have talked about the possibility of where Wendy's mother is, for instance.
I've heard theories that that one guy is like their second father.
Or I
with
forgot
the
who
Panther
talked
shirt.
about
You
this,
you
but
remember the guy?
yeah, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I think somebody brought up like maybe Wendy's mom is like stuck on another dimension or something. But that's what
Uh,
I've heard.
I find that highly unlikely, just because Wendy didn't really seem to have any kind of connection to the kind of like to anything supernatural until Dipper and Mabel kind of like came over and like shook stuff up.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. I actually think I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon because like things going on behind me. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, I think we went on off on so many tangents, but we talked quite. We did yet to cover quite a bit
We
about the
got it
movie itself.
done,
Yep.
guys. We talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we have a little more time because I know we've been going off on tangents, but I guess that's what happens when you talk about a show that you saw long ago, and now it's sort of getting a continuation. I
There
guess
is a lot to unravel with this,
yeah.
so I don't.
Mm-hmm. I guess the other thing I'll bring up, how did you feel about the ending, by the way? That it turns out, so we see that, Zim, tries to, move Earth to the Orkin, galaxy, and it doesn't really work out. But we actually find out what his actual phase two all along was basically just to steal this ceramic doll from Dip, and that's it.
That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
That is classic Zim.
Mm-hmm.
Though I'm more curious as to what's going what ended up with the whole Orkan Armada because are they gonna get out of there?
Yeah, because they get sucked into Florpus, and I love how like the talls they basically don't care. There's just one guy going around saying we gotta turn the ship around or else we're gonna hit the Armada, and they're just like we don't want to go other than a straight line, like we just don't. Even if we get sucked into that Florpus hole, and what happens? the tallest are now, they're in, like, stop motion form, and they're screaming because they're on fire.
Oh my gosh, yep.
I don't know. I think this is why I had the continuity question written, because I'm wondering, is that going to stick? Because there's I can recall, I think there were times in Invader Zim where they had, like, some things that happened in the show that didn't really stick throughout the series. Like, a perfect example is the Nano Zim episode. Do you remember how that ends, Gabby?
No.
Because in that episode, have you actually seen that episode?
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah, it's the one where, like, Zim is, like, going around Dib's body so he could erase the memory of where he put something. I don't remember the specifics. But the ending of that episode, the way that Dib gets Zim out of his body is basically by, I think it was, like, either you're peeing or pooping him, and he gets flushed down the toilet. Like, that's how the episode ends. Zim gets flushed down. Now, obviously, the series doesn't, continue with, like, Zim in, like, teeny tiny microscopic form and, being, stuck in or, oh my god, the wettening episode where after, Zim gets, after Zim basically gets the entire town washed up. He goes down to his toilet lair and he gets stuck, and he's calling on Gert to help him, and he's like, Gert, I'm stuck. And they kind of indicate that Zim was like suffocated or choked. So those kind of things obviously didn't stick.
Yeah.
So, at least as far as I don't know. So like, I'm kind of thinking maybe they just left it off there as like a sort of a side gag.
They can. They absolutely can.
Yeah. Especially since, Zim could technically, come up with some other sort of, even though now he knows that the tallest, don't really, care about him. But I'm sure he'll cut, like, if they ever want to do, like, a continuation, they could still do a thing where, like, Zim could take over for his own benefit completely. Or that sort of thing.
Right. Or like, because what I was figuring out is that if they end up stuck there, then Zim's the only Urkin left who can actually do anything in their universe.
Yeah, but then again, like I was saying before, I don't think they're gonna have the thing. I could see them doing a thing where, like, the tallest are still stuck in, like, their stop motion form as a sort of joke, but I could see them, getting out. Maybe the Florpus hole has, like, another, like, like
they come out the other end or something.
Yeah, so I'm sure they'll get out like that, because, like, we've seen Zim go through, all sorts of, of terrible bad endings in the past, so I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I would say one of the things that did stick throughout the series was the possibility of what is Dib going to do with Tak's ship, and who mentioned earlier that they really liked the Tak episode? Was it Shaymax or Javi?
I don't know. I didn't see that, actually.
Like, let me double check. Maybe one of them could, like, I know Javi had to step out, and we hope to see you later, dude. So
Ooh.
But yeah, I couldn't really. I actually had to watch that episode because, like, the Tak episode was one of the ones that I didn't get to see, actually.
Oh, I got to see that one. I don't remember a lot of it, though.
Yeah.
I just remember they end up with the ship. That's pretty much it.
And also, my sister really likes Tak's cat, Mimi, with the red eyes.
Who? What?
Remember, Tak had a cat, this blue cat. It's actually a robot, but it's a like a bluish purple cat with red eyes.
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah, Penny really likes that cat.
Let me see. Tak. Oh yeah, little cat is so cute.
In a creepy
I
sort of way.
forgot she had that cute. I forgot she had that cat.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I could definitely see a continuation, kind of like the Hey Arnold movie.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm really looking forward to, regardless of what they do with Invader Zim. I will say on the stream that I know that both I believe. Let me actually double check Long Beach Comic Con's website, because we were thinking about going back to that convention. And we know in the past that we did interview Ricky Simons, the dude who voiced Gurr. Thanks for the
Yes.
posters, by the way. He wasn't able to give us too many answers aside from he did hint that Gurr was going to ride a donkey, but it was still really awesome to like
It
get the chance to
was
talk to him.
adorable.
Yeah.
I love the little donkey. I'm sorry. It was
Yeah.
just too cute.
So now,
was
you know,
too
let me
cute.
actually double check. Because I know Richard Horvitz, the dude who's voicing Zim, is going to be at Long Beach Comic Con, and hopefully we could interview him.
That would be awesome.
And maybe we could throw in some Billy and Mandy questions, but we can't make promises.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess I need to brush up on my Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy
I see.
then.
Yep, Ricky Simons is coming back to Long Beach Comic Con.
Oh yeah,
Who-
I always love seeing Ricky Simons.
Yeah. Although he said although the website says he actually voiced some characters on Mighty Magiswords.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but it's gonna be so cool to like, you know, go up to him and say, you know, oh my god, you know, Florpus was so cool. It was so great to see Guru again. I mean, we're not gonna like, obviously, you know, we don't want to like, you know, force him into doing the song, but it's like, you know, I'm especially gonna tell him we love the peace song.
So yes.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's gonna be stuck in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we get to do the same with Richard Horvitz. I mean, I really want to meet Jonan Vasquez as well. I hope, you know, one of these days we get around to meeting him.
He's another one of the people who, if I ever get to meet, that was just going to be amazing. Him, Rebecca Sugar, Alex Hirsch, Justin Roiland. Oh my god.
Yeah. I know that we've mainly interviewed people from like the Star vs. the Forces of Evil cast, but we really do want to like, you know, get the chance to meet and interview people from other shows. You know, my YouTube channel name is Blood Moon Bobby, but you know, as you know, you could see with the Zim discussion we are into, you know, we're very much into other shows as well. So yeah, I mean, I really want to meet people like Jonan Vasquez. I know Valentina actually met Alex Hirsch at a book signing.
That must have been awesome.
I know. Yeah, so the possibility is always there. I know that I've heard Alex Hirsch is now working. He's like an executive producer on some Netflix projects. So, like, maybe, like, you know, I could see the possibility of, like, you know, watching his, like, shows in the future, whatever he decides to come out with and that sort of thing.
Ah, that'd be awesome.
So, but... yeah, I guess, do you have any more thoughts to say on Enter the Florpus, Gaby?
Besides, I really, really, really loved it.
Yeah, and we can't wait to tell both Richard Horvitz and Ricky Simons we really liked it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to take one last look at the chat. Hobby said he's got the DVD of the Hey Arnold movie, not just Hey Arnold. It has 5 Nickelodeon movies. I'm guessing you got a box set. He also said he has to go do something like going to theme parks, shower, etc. And he says bye to both of us. Have fun. And here's what he said: "May the Zim be with you."
Yes.
And I know Javi also said he said that OKKO barely aired less than Steven Universe.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah. Although when OKKO first came out, it initially got at least a decent amount of you know, airtime, right? Although that might have just been to just get the episodes out the door, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Shamex also said that 2021 is the Invader Zim 20th anniversary. That's definitely really cool.
Oh, nice.
And that he's selling and that Shamex is saying selling your Zim stuff. Okay, so...
okay.
Yeah. All right, so I think we'll end it off here because, like, we've basically... I guess it's Zim, so it's okay to say that we've been to the moon and back on Enter the Florpus and especially the Invader Zim show. I mean, I know we talked quite a bit about the show itself, but I hope we were able to get across a lot of what we felt about Enter the Florpus, so... yeah, so definitely, if you have a Netflix subscription, or even if you don't have one, this is your chance to go get one and check Enter the Florpus out. We definitely recommend it.
Oh, same. If
Mm-hmm.
if you can, watch it, and then watch it again, and then watch it again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I would have maybe liked to have a bit more of more time with Zim, but at the same time, I do get there were quite a few episodes that had Zim in sort of a more like sort of clear antagonistic role, and as a movie itself, it works really well. Like I do hope that it introduces people to Invader Zim, to people who missed out on it. The first time,
Right.
yeah, because like I said in the beginning of the discussion, watching this movie, I definitely got that sense of, you missed out when you were younger, and now this is your chance to watch the movie around the same time as the rest of the Zim fandom.
Right.
And I think it does show that, when I remember somebody in my live chat, we were discussing Star once, and they were concerned that, well, Star's over, looks like, the fandom's gonna forget about it, and it's just like, Zim is proof that, shows do, have a long life even after, they go off the air. Especially if they
Oh,
have a giant fan base. And Zim basically had a cult following that just got bigger even after the show ended. So,
oh, right, yeah. And
mhm.
and I mean, I have so many movies and shows like that that that's how I get into them because they're just like, they're like time capsules into other into like, different points in time, and it's just so great to look into them.
Mhm.
So I don't think that's ever going to stop being a thing.
Yeah, especially not anytime soon. I mean, I'm sure when 2021 comes and Zim's 20th anniversary, you're gonna see a lot of people on social media, being super hyped. I mean, just the other day, I even like tweeted I even just tweeted the saying because welcome home Zim fandom, as a play on the welcome home son of Zim's
Oh
robot
yeah.
parents, and people were liking the tweet. So not that my Twitter's really big or anything, but Zim definitely has it definitely has a big following, and I think the movie coming out really took advantage of the fact that I think that the Zim fandom just got bigger after the show ended, because after it ended,
Oh yeah.
people probably discovered Zim through like home video or streaming services like Hulu or that art book I mentioned, and they were like, "Ooh, what's this weird wacky show I missed out on?" And they watch it and they're like, oh, "It's so great!" And
And
yeah,
and I think if not already, soon enough, you're gonna have, the kids of the parents, and the kid's gonna come across, the show, and they're gonna come like I can imagine like the kid coming up to their parents and be like, "Mom, Dad, what's this?" And then you just have the parents with that gleam in their eye, like,
yeah.
"Boy, do I have a story for you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I was even surprised. And then the other thing is, I mean, I think it goes for all fandoms. You discover that even the people close to you knew about this show themselves. Like, I mean, my cousins, like, I started talking about Invader Zim, and they were like, "Oh, we watched that show," and I was like, "What?" I was
What?
just like, wow. I mean, not that I should be surprised because I know my cousins. Like, I know one of them. Like, he likes like really dark, twisted things. Like, I know he's a fan of like Mr. Pickles, for instance.
Oh no, no, oh no.
So yeah,
Not
so
Mr. Pickles.
yeah, but to end it all, we definitely both really liked the Florpus, and we highly recommend it. So I think I'm gonna have to end it off pretty soon, Gabby.
All right,
All
same,
right, so
same.
yeah, so thanks once again for coming on,
Thanks for having
and
me.
thanks for the people who watched and commented. So until next time, we'll see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.